There are people back at home that will be saying that if the place is not good for you, just come home. Just come home. So it means that I used 11 years, if I'm right,
Yeah,
to get degree certificates. Everybody got to know about me through my writings. I remember when I was about exiting university, there was an article that I wrote, and that article broke boundaries to other universities. It will interest you to know, and you know that these whites will never in any way speak anything ill of their country, even though you are aware. And I even cited examples where people from Prempeh College won robotics competition in America. He said he was a Canadian soldier and he was, stationed in Africa. He said he was in Kenya, and he was saying a whole lot of lovely things about the Kenyan people and other African countries that he had traveled to, the food of the Kenyans. He loved it. And to the extent that he even had a girlfriend there whom she had a child with. And your certificate that you are holding is even questionable. When he came and stood just in the window outside the classroom and was observing whatever was going on. So after everything, he just called me and said that you are a born teacher. The first salary that I received was 25 Ghana cedis. I was the SRC PRO then at the University of Education, Winneba Kumasi campus. I contested at the university, that is the Association of Students of Languages, ASOL. I contested as the president. Unexpectedly, I lost. Let me tell you, there are a lot of people that I know who have been to Canada for more than 5 months, for more than 6 months, and even more. They have not had any employment. These guys, a lot of them are on loans. They are paying it over 7 years. Some are paying it 7 years. Others, they are paying it 10 years. You get it? In life, we should be resilient. We should be focused. We should be ambitious, not just overly ambitious, but we should be ambitious. We should chase our dreams. It's going to be a great year, 2025. But if you don't push, the year wouldn't be great for you. Certainly. It only comes with somebody who is ambitious, who is focused, who is resilient, and especially financially be disciplined.
Hello, beautiful people. Once again, you are welcome to my channel, Explore with Pascal. And today, I bring to you another exciting episode. And this has to do with a young man who is now living in Canada. He's from Ghana originally, but destiny has found him in Canada. And he's there as a student, but he started in Ghana. And to be fair, he did so many stuff for himself. Now, at some point in life, from where we're coming from, we're judged by the color of our skin. But hey, here we are breaking barriers, going beyond borders, and living our dreams. I mean, we might not be there yet, but we keep pushing hard. There's one thing I need to tell you, that the only door that is locked is actually in your mind. And in reality, all doors are open. And all that you need to do is just walk through them. And once you do that, you keep going and nobody stops you. OGEE is my guest and he will tell more about himself. OGEE, you are welcome to my channel.
All right, thank you very much, my good friend.
Yeah, so if somebody by chance click on this conversation we're going to have and the person is wondering what's happening, what will you tell this person? Why should he stay to have a time to listen to this conversation we're going to have?
Well, so as people, we have a lot to share with people, so that if for anything at all, or if for nothing at all, you can pick some pieces of information, some pieces of advice, and some pieces of encouragement, words of encouragement that can also guide you in also pursuing to wherever that you would want to be. Not necessarily traveling, but there are life stories that you can pick from some people, and that will also go a long way to guide you as you live your life. Yeah.
Amazing. So who is OGEE and what do you stand for?
Well, so OGEE is a young, ambitious man who started from a very low level and gradually rising by the grace of God. And I believe that in the coming year or in the coming years, there's going to be more opportunities for me as I keep on exploring a lot of things in my life. So I stand for truth. I stand for commitment. I stand for somebody who is ambitious, who would want to get the best for himself and his people.
Okay, that's great. I mean, you've got some great values, which is going to help this conversation. So now, before we move into anything else, I've got so many things to deal with you today on this show or on my channel. But I just want to read something from Facebook. I just pull it out, which you posted some few minutes ago or some few hours ago. And this is what you wrote. The whites don't know us that much. Their impression of the people in Africa is the little information they get from the television and read from the papers. However, we have managed to explain into detail who we are over the past years. Sadly, a lot of us abroad do not make good remarks about us to them. At lectures, when people have the opportunity to contribute to discussions, they are not they are so quick to give examples from home that deepen their perception, sometimes even unrelated, minus those that switch cameras on them to say all manner of things about us or about themselves. In fact, when I read this post, I got so attached to it. Why are you saying this? Why that post?
Okay, so you know, in Africa, we knew that back in Africa, we knew that you know the whites have a perception about people in Africa, and their perception is that people living in Africa are poor people. Not per se, Africa is a poor continent, but the people there are making the continent poor for them. And uh, what I have realized after relocating to Canada is that when you come into contact with your people, your colleagues from Africa, not only from Ghana, but from other places, other countries across Africa, when they have an opportunity to sell Mother Africa or to sell their respective countries to the whites positively, they rather go ahead and spill all sort of things that will go a long way to even increase the bad perception about uh, Africa, or bad perception that the people in Europe and the people in the Americas have about Africa. So these are some of the comments that they make that continue to make the people in Africa look, painted in a way that does not speak well of us. For example, as I indicated, an example in that when we go for lectures, you come across or you come in contact with people from diverse areas, diverse cultures, people
Yeah,
from across the continent. We
yeah,
have people from the North America, we have people from Europe, Africa, Asia, Australia, and all manner of people that we come together as a class to offer a particular course or the other. And mostly when you have a class like that, the first thing at lectures is that you will have to introduce yourself. Sometimes the lecturer will
definitely.
ask you to introduce yourselves,
Yeah,
where you come from, what's occupation, or what were you doing back in your country. Apart from what you're doing back in your country, what do you stand for? What are your future aspirations, and why are you taking this particular course, or why are you taking this particular program and not any other program? So when the people have the opportunity to introduce themselves and, give more detail about where they come from. They rather end up, speaking ill about the people from Africa. So, for example, there was one particular course that I took with some group of people. Now, I will not mention the
Yeah, that's
country
fine.
that, yeah, I will
Yeah,
not
that's
mention
fine.
the country that the person comes from. The lecturer asked a simple question, as I earlier indicated, and the person just opened his mouth, mentioned his name, and after that, he said he comes from West Africa. He mentioned the country that he comes from, and from there, he said that in my area there is severe poverty. Have you seen poverty before? He was rather asking the lecturer, "Have you seen
You,
poverty
you,
before?"
you, you you
And
don't
the
mean
lecturer,
it.
yeah, and the lecturer said, "Of course, I know poverty." He said, "Yeah, but here there's no poverty here in Canada, but in Africa and where I come from, there's severe poverty, and I one day take you to Africa for you to witness what severe so I was just pissed off. I was so during the lecture, these whites, they don't want to engage you for long time. So when we have, for example, a 3-hour lecture,
Yeah,
in every 1 hour or so, depending on the consensus that you will all agree upon, they will ask you to go and stretch yourself. Maybe you would want to respond to emails, or you would want to make some few calls or
yeah,
contact some few people and then get back. So I contacted him, engaged, and I said, "Oh, Charlie, what you were saying was in my view irrelevant to the question that was
was posed.
required of you. You were
Yeah,
asked a simple question: introduce
yeah,
yourself, what you were doing back at home, why are you taking this course, and then what is your future aspiration. And if you go ahead to speak all these about Africa, then you are trying to help the white to disregard us, and
yeah,
and it's a fact. You get it."
yeah,
Yeah. And also, there was one time that we were at lectures, and then we were trying to look at the quality of education across the globe, not
yeah,
necessarily Africa. So what happened was that uh, I talked about the quality of education in Ghana, and I used the fact that Ghana has an education system from the kindergarten level to the senior high school level, where education is absolutely free, and
sure.
nobody or no parent pays
A
anything
dime for it.
to,
Yeah,
yeah, to take your child to school. And at the end of the day, when the children also sit for examinations, and the examinations are, you know said that we sit with other people from other countries across Africa, and at the end of the day, you realize that the number of people, the percentage of people who are able to pass these examinations, the West African Senior Secondary School Certificate Examination, the Basic Education Certificate Examination, if you compare with other countries, you will see that yes, Ghana is doing very well, and absolutely Ghana is on the map. And I
most
even cited
definitely.
examples where people from Prempeh College won robotics competition in
Yeah,
America, just to justify that the kind of
yes.
education that we have in
And
Africa
and,
or
and,
in
and
Ghana,
and that was a fact. Then
yeah,
these presentation you gave out
exactly.
is a fact which they can easily verify on the internet.
Exactly. And I also cited an example that students from a Fiakobi Senior High School, that is a girls' school in Ghana, in the
Yeah,
Ashanti region, were able to manufacture their own, drone. And the drone was able to fly. They were also able to manufacture a drone that is able to fly on the sea, and
yeah,
tested and by the Navy, the Ghana Navy. And so all this to justify that we have quality of education.
sure.
Just as I completed, another Ghanaian raised their hand
Objection, my lord.
and objected that he doesn't wholly agree with what I'm saying, even though there is free,
Seriously.
yeah, even though there is free senior high in Ghana. uh, what they will say, I would want to use the pronoun they, so that we are not what they will say is that, at some point in time, the kind of food that we give to the kids is not something to call it food for humans. The kind of treatment that are meted out to this also. So another person raised the hand and said, this happens everywhere. So it was another Ghanaian said this
Exactly.
happens everywhere, and he doesn't
Exactly.
know, or he doesn't really want to believe that everything about Canada's education is absolutely
Of course,
100%.
every system has got its own challenges. So
Exactly. And the
yeah,
lecturer said, yes, of course, Canada, we also have our own challenges. And at first, the lecturer said, and I even said that the government provides school uniform for
of
the
course.
the the students in the senior high school.
And
And
that's
the
a
lecturer
fact.
said,
Uniform, textbooks,
exactly,
calculators, everything is provided
exactly.
by the government. Yeah.
Exactly. And the lecturer said that, oh, yeah, then the government is doing well because in Canada, the issue of uniform has been in the news over and over again. And now students are not wearing uniform because parents felt that they were burdened by the wearing of uniform. You'd have to be buying uniform for your child and then be buying clothes as well for them to wear in the house. So why not let them bring their own clothes from the house to school than to burden parents with uniform so that we don't expose people who are uh, you know uh, the marginalized people who are poor will not be. So you see that they also have their own problem, but when we have
Yeah.
the opportunity to say things about our own countries, we go a long way to say the worst of things that we experience. And it will interest you to know, and that these whites will never in any way speak anything ill of their country, even though you are
Never.
aware that
Never.
this is, yes.
Yes,
So we
never.
need not to be exposing ourselves. And an advice to those of us who have had the opportunity to travel, if you would want to have an experience to share with people at home, it should be good experiences, but people just put cameras on them and they would be talking ill about Ghana, they would be talking ill about Nigeria, as if there is nothing positive in our respective countries. And interestingly, as I added in the post that I made, that there are people at home who
Oh,
are also cheering them up,
yes.
giving them the
Yes.
fans to move
Yes.
on. Yeah, more fire.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so I
Yes.
would not want to be mentioning
More
names,
fun.
but we know them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we do them. Yes. You know what? I'm trying to connect. In actual fact, I wanted to pull out two posts you made. And the other one has to do with, which I will not read, but I have it in mind. Of course, I follow everything you do on the internet. The post you made about beggars on the streets in Europe, in Canada, in the United States, where people are homeless, they sit in front of coffee shops, in front of shops. Some will have their pets with them, with some duvet wrapped around them, and begging with their cup of beer. And if you tell people back home that we have homeless people in Europe, homeless people in Canada, homeless people in the United States, people wouldn't believe it. And all that they think is full of roses out there. And so the conversation is always limited to the negative, the challenges we're facing as a country. But I'm going to put you on the spot. If you're able to identify these things happening, what do you think we can do? Because I think this is something that is deeply rooted in our fiber of our history. The colonizers came in, had an agenda, and are they saying that the history of Ghana was only written from 1957 when we had independence? No,
Yeah.
this is Ghana Empire. This is an empire which has been in existence for thousands of years. But you find history books, and even if they exist, people don't even look for them to read to really identify what we truly are. And like you said, these people will never speak ill of themselves. Their challenges, there are certain things. I've had opportunity to be in most of the schools to teach. And trust me, some challenges going on in that environment is kept in the confine of that environment. And that's it. But in our case, it's quite different. And you find our case coming here, and end of the day, they end up performing better, end up doing well until they integrate into the system where they get to know that, oh, okay, you have to take it slow, just integrate. But wherever they come in, whenever they come in on top. Now, what do you think we can do? I mean, to take care of these kind of things, what is the way forward? Because we need to move on and the story needs to change.
Yeah, the way forward is that, one thing that we should all accept and embrace is that every group of people have their challenges.
Yeah.
And Africa, yes, Ghana, the continent of Africa generally, we have our challenges. And the Americas, the Europeans, they also have their challenges. And that we are all trying our best possible to have our challenges addressed. And one thing that we can do is not to say that we shouldn't call on our leaders to do the right thing. No, we
Sure.
should be on their necks, call on them to do the right thing. That is a fact. But we should not pose it as if we have nothing positive in Africa. We have nothing positive in Ghana. When sometimes you speak with the whites, I encountered one person. He said he was a Canadian soldier and he was, uh, stationed in Africa. He said he was in Kenya, and
Okay.
he was saying a whole lot of lovely things about the Kenyan people
Of course. Of
and
course.
other African countries that he had traveled to, the food of the Kenyans. He loved it. And to the extent that he even had a girlfriend there whom she had a child with. So he told me that anytime, any day, he would choose to go to Kenya because the Kenyans are very nice people. And he said that during his time of peacekeeping, the UN, missions outside Canada and in Africa, he encountered some Ghanaians, and he realized that Ghanaians are a very lovely people. Ghanaians are, truthful and a whole lot. So you see what the whites are even talking about ourselves, but we do not speak
Of course.
positive things about ourselves and our continent, and we go ahead to speak negative things. And the more you speak negative things about yourself, the more that a person being spoken to also have negative impressions about you. And at the end of the day, you have. So one last example, and this was one African. I wouldn't want to mention the country, but not Ghana anyway, not Ghana.
Okay.
And he was talking about uh, the kids in Africa, the kids in the senior high school, cheating in exams and having their ways to get better grades, and then the politicians will be bragging that the students have passed. And I'm saying that it is not Ghana anyway. It is not Ghana.
Okay. Yeah.
It is not Ghana. The person is from a West African country. So I said, wow. And this is the more reason that the whites are not even wholly embracing our certificates.
Of course.
Just bring your certificate. In Canada, if you come to Canada and you would want to teach in Canada, you can have a PhD, you can have a degree, whichever master's. If you want to teach even at the basic school, they would want you to go through WES evaluation. That is the World Education Service evaluation.
Yeah.
To evaluate your certificate.
Credentials. Yeah.
Exactly. Evaluate your certificate before they are able to, among other things, accept that, yes, indeed, you attended, a teacher training college, you attended a teacher training university, and that you have the powers, you have the skills, you have the potentials to teach even at the lower primary, even at the kindergarten. You get it? So if you continue to speak this about yourself to the white, that your people cheat in exams, which of course is not true. Cheating in exams happens everywhere.
Of course.
It happens everywhere.
Of course.
Not only in Africa.
Not to cut you short, where did that word even come from in the first place? It's not a local language.
Exactly.
That cheating you're talking about is an English word. So where did it come from?
Exactly. Examination malpractice is something. Yeah, it is. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And we shouldn't forget that.
Yes, in any case, this formal education we're talking about here and there,
Was
even
brought
though
by
we
them.
had, yes, was brought by them. So anything that comes with it was something that,
So if you speak this about your education system, then you are creating an impression that you easily have your way and you easily have your certificate, and your certificate that you are holding is even questionable.
Of course.
You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes. So
It
so
is.
forever they will not trust in our certificate. They will not trust in our abilities unless we do something extraordinary for them
Yeah.
to know that, oh, okay, these people are making sense. And thankfully, when Ghanaians and Africans have the opportunity to make, good examples, that is relatable to education, because the program that I'm studying is
Yeah.
educational leadership, masters in educational leadership. And the professors are able to tell that yes, these people are giving practical examples. They are giving examples that relate to, and we know what we are doing. You get it?
Yeah. Yes, I
Exactly.
get it. Yeah. Okay. So, the funny thing, before we end this, I mean, this is very interesting part of it. Maybe we have to find another time to another episode to dive seriously into it, and then
Yeah.
address things which needs to be talked about. And like you said, I told a guy that I came to the UK to school, and the school fees I paid for my entire duration of my course was crazy. And every student who came here, either you came with funding or self-funding, wherever it is, end of the day, even if you came with a funding, government scholarship or whatever, the money the government paid, you saw it. So if it was something which was small amount, and if you came with self-funding, you ask yourself, we go into these classrooms and you find international students from Africa. Most of these international students are from Africa. You barely find people from this land in the class doing their masters, doing, even though they have subsidy to take these courses. You don't find them. Why? Most of them will tell you it's expensive, they don't have it. But you
Yeah.
check the cost of our flight from our home country. We come to the country, kind of money we spend on accommodation, kind of money we spend on our courses. Now tell me, which poor person can afford this?
Yeah. Yeah.
No one. Yes, if you are poor, just like people are made to, the reality is that people are just being hypocrites. And like you said, if you also continue to add fuel to it, then it continue to burn and it never stops because you are admitting that you are poor. Okay, you are poor. You are here paying huge sum of school fees. And end of the day, if international students cease to travel outside from Africa to Europe or to anywhere, most of these universities will run down
Yeah.
because the African students or the international students hold the economy. But like I said, this is something we have to talk about it some other day. But you talked about Canadian education. You've experienced the two, um, from Ghana and then here doing your masters. I know you did your first degree, which will come there very soon. We'll just rewind the clock and then see what happens behind that scenes. But your short time here, how will you describe it? I mean, trying to put certain pieces together, building on what you had back home with what you are receiving now. I mean, how will you evaluate it as a whole?
Okay. So generally, I would say that in Ghana, we were really doing a lot. In Ghana, you will have to, you know, read wide, read a lot, prepare very well before you take an exams, and you will have to, you know, stay the whole night, even a night
Burn
before
candles
exams.
here and there.
Yeah, stay the whole night. Sometimes you'll
Yeah,
be sleeping, you feel sleepy, but the fact that you have an exams ahead of you, you wouldn't want to sleep.
yeah,
The experience that I've had is that the kind of education here is a bit different from what we have in Africa.
yeah,
Yeah, it's a bit different from what we have in Africa. Here, the whites are more interested in, you know, uh, letting you relating what you are learning to practical, life experience. So, for
yeah,
example, if you're a teacher and we are talking about, let's say, quality of education, or we are talking about school community partnership
yeah,
or family school relationship, in Ghana, we hardly value, even though it is there, but we
yeah,
hardly value the essence of an effective school community partnership that enhances effective, educational outcomes. But here,
yeah.
it is something that is very cherished because the parents have a say. You get me? The parents
I
have a
get
say,
you.
and you cannot do anything to the the daughter or the son of a parent, and
Yeah,
you just you know go your way like that. No, that is not the case. So here the education is more practical than the theory that we used to have in Africa. So for example, in my program that I'm doing, it is more like classroom participation, classroom presentation. Apart from that, you will have to be writing papers, assignments, and a whole lot. So it is all about doing research, and that makes you have a broad knowledge of ideas. But in Ghana, that we are too limited, and I should say that uh, not the part of the lecturers or not the part of the school, but sometimes we feel so lazy to read wide and then to do more research as students. But
yeah,
when we travel outside, we get to know that, oh, okay, even though we were reading, we were doing our best in terms of reading,
yeah.
but here, not just reading, but you will have to apply.
Of course.
You will have to apply what
Yeah,
you have read must be applied to real life situation, and it's good. Africa,
yeah,
we have a very quality education, and here too they have their own style. But it's about time that we revised our educational system to meet global needs, so that we can also compete with people in the Americas, people in Europe, and some people in the Asia. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. I just can't agree with you less with the last point you made. I mean, I'm 100% in support of what you're saying because I mean, end of the day, the world has now become a global village, we say. And so you have people moving to other part of the world to show what they've got. But I'm extremely happy. You know what? Sometimes if you talk about it, you might sound political because somebody will relate it to politics. But currently what's happening back home with a lot of STEM schools being built around students being encouraged to go into robotics, go into these kind of stuff that in reality connects their theoretical ideas to the practical stuff they need to have. I think it's the best thing. And maybe the next 10 years, we might be talking about, or we might be having a different story to talk about it. But like you said, it's something that we need to have a look at. Because personally, when I came, there are a lot of stuff I saw that, I mean, maybe a little improvement on what we're doing back home will bring us at par. And but
Oh yeah.
still, we still
Oh
yes,
yeah.
we're still pushing, man. We're still pushing. We're still rocking shoulders to shoulders with them. And I mean, wherever we stand, unless they don't want to admit,
Exactly.
yes, they. So let's
Yeah,
rewind the clock.
because in the same classroom with these people
Yeah,
from Europe, in the same classroom with these people from America, from Asia,
yeah,
they are not doing anything better
no,
than we do. We
never,
are equally better, and sometimes most of them we are better than them. You get
of
it? We are better
of
than them.
course,
You could see that when we have the opportunity to speak, we speak with some sort of weight. There is some
yes.
sort of weight behind what we are speaking, even than those that back at home, people think that they are more advanced in. Oh, I don't want to go far, but we are doing our best possible here.
Yes. Yes, like I said, we'll definitely have another episode. I mean, to dive seriously into this,
Yeah.
and I think that is what we need as people. That's what we need as Africans. That's what we need as Ghanaians, Nigerians, South Africans, Zimbabwe, anywhere around the world. I mean, that's what we need. Because end of the day, if you're able to identify yourself and then you know what you stand for, you can never feel intimidated in any environment you find yourself. And that's what we're doing. Most of we come in, we survive, we conquer. Other people join year after year, and they keep going. What it means is that we are highly on top of what we're doing, and so we keep doing it. Now let's rewind the clock a bit. I'm going to take you back to Ghana, and let's see some stuff that's really happened. The beginning, how was it? before we move on, just start there, because if somebody is listening to us and the conversation has been Canada, 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 then the person might think like, oh, it was boom from day one, but it's not. It's not. So, so rewind the clock for me, and then let's see what happened there, and we'll build on it. Yeah.
Okay, so it didn't start on let's say on a good note, but I would also not say that it started on a bad note. From a very typical rural community, Afransia, in the Bekwai municipality of the Ashanti region, and the fact that I have been able to strive upon all limitations, upon all the disadvantages, I've been able to strive up to this far. It tells you how resilient and focused that I am. Life is about just being focused, because I schooled at Afransia, my village. It's
Yeah.
is a village, it's a typical village. I schooled there in my primary days, and in my junior high education, I had it at Puano. That is just a nearby town, almost combined.
Was
I
it a
had
walking
my junior,
distance? Were you walking? Was it a walking distance, or maybe
yeah,
you have to?
just a walking distance. So a Francia to Puano is just about 15 minutes walk, and you are there. So I had my junior high education there. From there, I had my senior high education at Tia Media Senior High School at Asokori in the Fijasi area, also in the Ashanti region. And apart from that, I when I was at the university,
Yeah.
even before going to the university at the primary school, I loved to teach. I just wanted to be a teacher because I found myself to be a teacher, and
Okay.
nothing else. So I was just preparing my life to teach. So I remember in senior high school, those that were in the senior high school with me would know that sometimes I just stood in the classroom, stood in front of my colleagues, and taught them what I knew. Sometimes
Okay.
geography, mapping, I taught them. Ghanaian language, I taught, and there were social studies and other subjects that I thought that I had the abilities. I led my class and then taught them. So one day, my history tutor, Mr. Mensah, back at Tia Media Senior High School, he was to come to class, but they had a meeting. So he asked that I lead them in class discussion. So I was leading in the class discussion for history class. And when he came and stood just in the window outside the classroom and was observing whatever was going on.
Yeah.
So after everything, he just called me and said that you are a born teacher. So after uh, your senior higher education, don't think about going to the university. Go to the teacher training college. I say, hey, what is this man saying? Because you know everybody would want to, everybody would want to go to university. Not everybody. Most people would want to go to the university straightforward,
Yeah.
because back then we thought that the teacher training college, excuse me to say, was for people who were academically weak.
Yeah.
That was the perception then. That was
Yes.
the
Yes.
perception, but that isn't
Yes.
the
You're
case at
right.
all.
Yeah.
So I said okay. So I thanked him, and after senior high education, I never worried myself to buy any university form, because I wanted to, follow what the tutor had told me. So I went to the teacher training college at Offenso College of Education. That was in the year 2009, and I completed Offenso College of Education in the year 2012. And after that, I found myself, uh, even though I did a general program at the
Yeah.
university, no special course, as some people did, but
Yeah.
I found myself at Dominasi uh, SDA Junior High School, where
Okay.
I didn't know what I was going to teach anyway. But the headmaster then, Mr. Daniel Mensah, as he was, just told me that, okay, I would want you to handle English language for me if only you can. I said, okay, no, I don't have any problem. if it is English language that you want me to handle, I don't have any problem. So I accepted that mandate, and that is where I started my formal teaching career. But before then, I had taught after senior high school. I taught in a school at Puano, amazing, Advent Education Complex at Puano.
Okay.
That is where I attended junior high school.
Yeah.
So kind of going to give back to your school. So I went back and gave it to my former school. From there, that I went to the the training college. And even before the training college, I moved from Advent Education Complex to Amazing Grace International School. And we were kind of doing the teaching out of something out of love, not
Okay.
because by then how much were they even giving to us?
Yeah,
I remember
that's what I was about to ask you. I mean, do you remember the first salary you received? How much
the
it
first
was?
salary that I received was in 2009. That was in September 2009. I received 25 Ghana cedis. 25 Ghana cedis.
Was it a good money then?
25 Ghana cedis then. I don't think 25 Ghana cedis then would be equal to 250 Ghana cedis today. I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
No. But that time, as young as you are, I've been in that situation before. So as young as you are, all that the joy you take, the reward you take is you go to the school in the morning, see the boys and the young girls around you, playing football sometimes with them, teaching them here and there, and
Yeah.
they calling your name, OGEE, and
Yeah.
you are good to go.
that was absolutely that was my joy.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And
Yeah,
yeah, I just so we thought that we were also doing our best possible to help them.
sure,
and
sure.
and even during that process, we even had the opportunity. We came to Asokwa in Kumasi. There was a
Okay.
school. The school is not existing anymore. That is Royal International School. It was just adjacent, just opposite TI Media Senior High School in Kumasi,
All right. Yeah.
at Asokwa area. We came there and taught for some months, and so we've gone through teaching all that while. So at Dominance,
That's your first station, right?
at Dominance, that is SDA Junior High School,
Yeah.
Dominance. That is where I spent 4 years to teach. So in my 4th year, I realized that no, why not, upgrade myself, because you cannot, be using the diploma to teach all that while. Because after
Yeah.
training college, you have then time, you have your diploma in basic
Awarded to
education.
you. Yeah.
Yeah. So the diploma in basic education at the time, the Ministry of Education was making changes that the minimum certificate that could be used to teach at the junior high school was just the diploma. And those
Yeah.
people with set A had to upgrade themselves. So I thought that maybe a time will also come that those people with diploma will have to upgrade themselves as it is gradually happening. Because if you
Sure.
have diploma and you don't upgrade yourself, now people from the training college come straight away with degrees. And if they come and meet you, there is a possibility that they will be leading you, because
Of course. Of
they have an
course.
upgraded certificate. So you have to. So I applied for study leave after 4 years of teaching and went to uh, University of Education, Winneba, that is Kumasi campus then,
Yeah.
where currently is Amstead, and pursued a 4-year degree program, not distance program. That is 4-year full degree program. So the degree certificate that people used just 4 years to get it, I used 3 years at the
Training
training
college.
college,
Yes.
4 years on the field teaching,
Yeah.
and another 4 years uh, at the university getting the degree. So add 4, 4, 3. So it means that I used 11 years